A couple months ago, I decided to take a plunge into learning AI, and I've spent so many hours digging into this thing. And I finally can say that I've been able to add pretty significant value to my business with AI. I want to talk about the new GPT 5.5, and I'm not going to go over these benchmarks because they really mean nothing. I was looking through these and I was like, okay, well, how can I actually use this? And really, my conclusion was that maybe I should actually get into the model and ask it itself. And so that's going to be this video. I'm going to be explaining to you how exactly I've been plugging this into my business, a couple things you can do yourself to amplify your workflow with AI. So let's get right into it. Now, the way I've been able to make it work is by combining a couple models. So originally, if I actually scroll down, I've been using a lot of Image 2.0. GPT Image 2.0 came out some time, and this is all a bunch of generations from Nano Banana Pro. So Nano Banana Pro was the model from Gemini, and it made images pretty well. But you can kind of see it took me a ton of tries to kind of get to where I wanted to be. Whereas when it comes to Claude's prompts and actually generating the images with GPT 2.0, it's been absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. It just has much better reasoning. The amount of depth on the quality is absolutely absurd. But, at the end of the day, I was using Claude every single day because GPT 5.4 sucked. It wasn't very good. It wasn't very practical. And I actually had a Claude skill that I created to go ahead and make my video. So I'd be like, I want to make a video on JM crypto today, and I want to talk about the latest and greatest news. And I would just plug that in, and boom, it would kind of come out there. And if you're wondering how I'm doing the text to speech, I'm actually doing it on Whisperflow. It's, this isn't sponsored or anything. I just randomly made this channel, but I found it very useful for me. I can type at like 120 to 140 words per minute. And the unfortunate thing is, it takes time to actually think about the words that I'm typing. So I find it very convenient to just say it. So that's the immediate news that you can take to use AI to actually improve your productivity. But what I do every time there's a new model is this. So I said, what is GPT 5.5 better than Claude Opus 4.7 app for my content creation? Can I upload the skill zip file for my Opus content creator skill to give you context? So like I said, I have a content creator skill, and the way that it works on Opus is that you have a zip file. And so this zip file is going to have pretty much a TLDR of a lot of the things within your business. If you wanted to create one, you go onto Claude and you do something like this. I want to make a content creation skill for my business. Ask me many questions along the way. I want to specialize on the crypto niche. And I also want to make sure to make this skill have a strict workflow anywhere from research to thumbnails to titles all the way down. I'm trying to make presentations as well. And it'll kind of just pop everything there. And I would press enter, and then I would get a bunch of prompts on questions about my business. I don't think that if you don't understand what you're trying to build, Claude Skills is a good solution, because Claude Skills is really good at repeating things that you already know. So if you're already good at making thumbnails, I could consistently generate these thumbnails for sure. It would just take me a lot longer than if I just had a skill that already had everything that I've made as a content creator, right? And so I've also taken the time to, for example, get my YouTube data analytics on my actual YouTube channel. I go over the top videos that are getting the most views, and I plug that all into the skill. Really all you can feed into the skill is just going to make it much better. And so here's what GPT said. So they said, GPT 5.5 is especially strong when your workflow involves research, blah, 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 where Opus might be better for very long documents, et cetera, et cetera. So I actually uploaded the zip file, and he read it, and he was coming up with things. So the TLDR that I came up with after testing this for some time, because I don't want to waste your time, is that GPT 5.5 is horrendous at making presentations. This is, for example, one of the recent videos that I made. This was on Claude Opus 4.7. And you'll kind of see, if you kind of read through this, that there's actual data that's put here. Yes, sometimes it hallucinates because it gets outdated sources. But for the most part, if you understand how the crypto space works or whatever niche that you're trying to build in, it's much better. If you're trying to do a pitch on maybe a real estate deal and you want a bunch of facts in there, you probably want to have something like this. But maybe you already have the things that you want for the business deal and you know exactly how you want it to look. then something like GPT would be amazing. For example, when I was making my landing page, I, grabbed my current landing page, which is, I will show you right now, which it looks like this, right? For my business. And I just took the screenshots and gave it to GPT, and it kind of just ended up generating this thing for GPT Image 2.0. Was it great? Was it bad? We had some optimizations to be had there, and I thought that was cool. Obviously this is just, just an image generation. It's not the actual thing. It doesn't look like anything like my wife, but it kind of is what it is. And through the new model, I was able to make a pretty cool landing page using Claude Code as well. So I don't think that both of these models are the best in class for everything. I think both of these models have their advantages and their disadvantages. And before I get someone that says, oh, but it's too much work to go from this model to this other model, I don't believe that. All you need to do is download your skills or your zip files that have all the context in the world for whatever you're building, and you press the new chat button. It really isn't that complicated. So the way I see it, GPT is way worse at presentations, but it's much better at titles. It's much better at reasoning. It's much better at finding the current thing that's happening. Now, it's really bad at explaining it. For example, when I made a video on Link, it gave me the most trash surface level information on this thing, and it didn't even do the presentation correctly. Just absolutely terrible. And I was playing with this for like 30 minutes, and I couldn't get anything good. But when it came to Claude, like it was like instantaneous. The quality difference was instantaneous. While yes, GPT Image 2.0 was making some pretty cool little stuff. Like for example, enterprise revenue, this cool little thing with tokens on it. Like, oh, that looks cool. I'm not gonna lie, and it even has a little chain link thing on it. But it just, I don't know. I didn't like the way it generated. Maybe that's just my fault. And I need to play with the model more, and I am. One of the things I did see that OpenAI did say is that this model specifically is very strong when it comes to agentic stuff. So like agentic browsing, agentic tool use. It feels like that's going to be a big thing for them, and computer use as well. So what computer use is, if you didn't know, if you go into Codex, it is a thing that if you have a MacBook, which, I'm recording right now on Windows, so I can't show you. But if you're on a MacBook, which, kind of is what it is, all the gamers in the world are gonna go on poof. Then you can go on to Codex and use this thing called computer use, which actually goes onto your computer and like does things. So for example, like if you were coding a website and you were trying to debug it, you could ask Codex to do that. So I would say the workflow for building a landing page goes the following. You want to go onto GPT Image 2.0 because it's the best image generation model on the planet. And you want to generate your landing page, the design for your landing page. And then you want to take that and you want to go onto Claude Code, and you want to tell Claude Code to build a website based on that. Now, Claude Code's going to do it, but it's a bit messy and scrappy. So after you build the code for the website and you make it look all pretty, you're going to go over to Codex and you're going to ask Codex to go ahead and debug everything. And it's going to do it very, 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 very quickly. So you kind of go a little bit back and forth. The subscriptions aren't that expensive. It's like $20 a month for both of these. If you actually want to go hard and you're scaling this business, I mean, I've made well over $100,000 because of the efficiency that I have as a result of GPT and Claude. So I'm more than happy to pay for the max plans for these things. But in general, you have to be curious. You have to be curious because in the world of AI, people thought the internet wasn't going to go anywhere. They didn't think that people were going to use the internet for anything. The people that were shilling the radio, they were so hyped about this. And then all of a sudden, everybody got on the internet, and the people that didn't adapt got left behind. This is your signal to be curious and actually get into this stuff. I would use GPT 5.5 and Claude interchangeably. I think for titles and thumbnails, a GPT 5.5 is significantly better. I think for presentations and general like explanations of things, Claude right now, Opus 4.7 is better. I believe for following rules that also Claude is better. It just has a better personality. And GPT 5.5 is good if you're just kind of like one-shotting things and being very experimental. And also if you're coding, it's absolutely incredible. Codex is just front of the line. It is absolutely incredible at actually like making sure your code doesn't break because Claude code is very, 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 very messy. Very messy. It'll make things look pretty from a UI perspective. It's undeniable. It makes things look pretty, but it is very buggy and very messy. So you want to take your code and put it over to Codex. I hope this gave you a good explanation on what's happening here and the ways that I'm able to plug in a Claude and GPT into my business, my first channel, and just me looking into AI. I just want to motivate myself to look into AI. So subscribe if you want to see more AI videos, and I'll see you all in the next one.